In civil construction, there are many hazards we should be aware of. In this video, we're going to talk about general injuries and the common hazards on a construction site and how we can prevent them. So, you started your career in civil construction. On site, there are many hazards you need to be aware of, such as sharp tools, heavy equipment, trucks, busy streets where you could be crushed, cut, pinched, you name it. Equipment such as jackhammers and concrete saws, etc. all pose a risk on the job site. That's why with proper training, proper caution, and proper PPE, we can minimize the risks associated with that equipment. Traffic is also another hazard on the job site. Not only do we have to pay attention to busy streets that we work on, we also have to pay attention to our own vehicles as well. That's why paying attention to blind spots and having proper communication and a spotter is essential. Open excavation and trenches are also a risk on the job site. There is risk for workers to fall in. Cave-ins are caused by disturbances of ground or inclement weather, which leads to flooding and accumulation of water. And there's also a risk of other equipment falling into the open excavation. Device spaces are another hazard you might find on one of our work sites with limited entry and exit, such as a manhole. Since space is limited, there is potential for lower oxygen levels as well. That's why it's important to have safety measures and proper training before working in a confined space. Overhead hazards are another danger you should watch out for. There's overhead structures, power lines, and other workers working above. It's especially important when handling heavy machinery to not come in contact with any of the overhead hazards. Did you know that a cubic yard of soil can weigh as much as 3,000 pounds, and falling from a height of 6 feet can hit a worker as hard as a pickup truck going 56 kilometers an hour? Damn, that's scary. Open excavations like this means it's very important to stick to the plans regarding marked utility lines such as hydro with live electricity, sanitary, and gas lines. Any damage to these could put us at risk for dangerous atmospheres. That's why it's super important to make sure that your eyes are peeled regarding unmarked and improperly disclosed lines that were not marked on the map of plans. When it comes to hazardous substances on the job site, you may be exposed to some substances. This includes silica, asbestos, and concrete dust if someone's cutting into it. That's why it's important to wear and use the proper PPE. Accidents and injuries on site can happen, but if you follow Hexcel safety policies, you can prevent those situations from arising, especially working on site. If not focused and aware, an injury may occur. When working with a variety of tools in the job, we run the risk of pinching, slicing, and hurting ourselves. Tools like knives, saw blades, you name it, run this risk to slice ourselves and others by accident. Working with oversized equipment has its own hazards as well. For example, when dealing with manhole covers or large pipes, it runs the risk of us being crushed or pinched. One of the most common injuries we see in manual labor are back injuries. These are usually caused by not warming up before work, slipping and falling, or improper lifting techniques. Now that we talked about the potential hazards on site, we need to ask ourselves, how can we avoid these near misses, injuries, and accidents? First of all, get the proper PPE. Get yourself a hard hat that fits, a visibility vest to keep you seen, CSA-approved steel-toed boots, and most importantly, safety glasses and earplugs. Depending on the work site, you may need to work alongside with TCPs, traffic control personnel. Make sure you're aware of them and they're aware of you. Communication is key. When you're on your work site, make sure that you stay in your designated area that's either fenced off or coned off. Working around trenches and manholes, you need to make sure there's an easy way of getting in and out of them. When working on trenches and manholes, always make sure that there's a means of benching or sloping the trench walls using shoring or shielding with trench boxes to prevent cave-ins. Before Before going into any deep manholes or trenches, always make sure to test for dangerous atmospheres. Also, check for any unmarked utility lines, and if you're going into a deep trench or a manhole, always make sure to wear the proper fall protection if advised. As an employee, you have 3 basic rights. 1, you have the right to be made aware of hazards in the workplace. 2, you can attend health and safety meetings or toolbox chats. And 3, most importantly, you have the right to refuse unsafe work. Accidents happen, but preventative measures are key. Whether it's as simple as being observant, asking for help, warming up for work, participating in safe lifting measures, learning the proper hand signals for operators, and ensuring there's a spotter for every machine or vehicle, you can learn how to stay safe in these working conditions. Here at Hexcel Construction, safety is our #1 priority, but safety starts with all of us. So to keep it a safe working environment, let's observe, let's communicate, and let's ask questions. See you on the job.